Okay. Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to May's Mortem. My name is Mayfield, and today I wanted to answer a question that quite a few of you have been asking me. You guys have been wondering where I buy my clothing from. You might have seen my wardrobe video that I posted about a month ago. I'll link that up above for you if you haven't. But after I posted that video, a lot of you started asking questions about where I buy my clothing, how do I get it, and so I figured I would make a video explaining how I get my clothes. This is a question that has multiple answers, so I'll try to answer as in-depth as possible so you can make the best decision for yourself and your wallet. So first, I think we need to ask ourselves, what is our budget? If you're going to start wearing EGL fashion, generally the first thing you will buy to create a new outfit is either a skirt or a dress. And brand new, prices for a new dress or skirt can be anywhere from $40 to $1,000, or even more so if you try really hard and look hard enough. I should also mention, for the sake of this video, I'm talking about United States dollars, not like Australian dollars. I don't know if you could tell by my southern accent, but I'm definitely in America. So I'm going to start by talking about the more expensive options, and then I'm going to work my way down to the less expensive options, because to be honest, the more expensive stuff will be easier and faster to get through. And then we're going to work our way down to the more affordable options. So let's start by talking about brand name clothing, or as we call it, just brand clothing. And these are all of the original Japanese EGL brands that started it all for me when I was really young. We're talking about like Baby the Star Shine Bright, Alice and the Pirates, Angelic Pretty, Innocent World, Metamorphose, Victorian Maiden, Moiety, the list goes on. It is essentially endless, because new brands are being created all the time, and also dying all the time, which is very sad, but that's a different video. I would say the most expensive of these brands are probably like Angelic Pretty for sure these days, Moiety. I think that Baby the Star Shine Bright and Alice and the Pirates are kind of middle of the road along with Metamorphose. About once or twice a year, Baby the Star Shine Bright and Angelic Pretty will come out with like these really opulent made-to-order gowns. They're generally anywhere from like $1,000 to $2,000. They're a lot of money. But I think the brands intend them to be worn as like wedding gowns, so not all of their dresses are going to cost you thousands of dollars. So I'm going to show you guys my computer screen now, but you can see here that they have a lot of dresses that are in a more acceptable price range for designer clothing. A lot of people will see these prices and think, oh, it's a costume, like why does a costume cost hundreds of dollars? Well, to those of us that wear EGL frequently and consider it something of a lifestyle or a very important form of self-expression, we consider it to be comparable to buying like a Moschino top or maybe a Louis Vuitton bag. And if you've ever looked at a designer clothing website before, you'll know that these prices are not outrageous. So you may be wondering, how do I order from a Japanese website? Well, for some of the Japanese brands, you still can't order from their websites overseas directly, but I believe with most of them you actually can nowadays. It used to be that you would have to order through a shopping service to get things from the Japanese websites, which we will talk more about shopping services in a minute, but now each website that's Japanese will usually have like an English web page that you can find, and it will tell you how to order their clothing from overseas. I know on Baby the Star Shine Bright's website you can just order and purchase clothing like normal, which is insane to me because if you told me that 10 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you. But yes, nowadays it is just that easy. The future is now. Also, as a side note, Baby the Star Shine Bright does have like a gothic sister brand called Alice and the Pirates. Like those two are linked, they're the same company. So if you're a spooky individual, that might be more your style. For Angelic Pretty, they do have an English website, but they don't stock it as well as the Japanese or Paris websites, I feel like. Like maybe I'm just being dumb, but that's how I've always seen it. Maybe stuff just sells out like really fast. So if you see something that you like on their Japanese website, you are going to have to use a shopping service to get it. And this is probably a good time to tell you all about shopping services. This is the one I use called Kawaii. And essentially what a shopping service is that you will pay a Japanese company like Kawaii because they have a Japanese address and a Japanese bank account, so they will buy things for you in Japan and then ship them to your house in another country. Does that make sense? Did I explain that well? There's like little graphics. I'm gonna show you the little graphics. There is usually like a small service fee that's like a percentage of whatever the item's price is that you're buying. And you will not only pay overseas shipping to get the item from the buying service to you, you will also be paying for Japanese domestic shipping to get the item from the seller to the warehouse. So you're basically paying for shipping twice, although in Japan it's not that expensive. And I think the most I ever spent on a shopping service fee was maybe like $20, and I remember that being a pretty big order. So if you want to do this, just be sure to have extra cash saved up. So besides the first brands that I mentioned, Baby the Star Shine Bright, Alice and the Pirates, and Angelic Pretty, there's also Metamorphose. Metamorphose does ship overseas. They are a little bit more affordable than the other brands, And my favorite part is that their socks actually fit my American legs, and their sizing is a lot more forgiving too, and they have plus sizing now, which is really fun. Another brand that I really love is called Innocent World. They ship overseas, but they don't really seem to be stocking as much lately, not as much as they used to anyways. I kind of get the sense that they're clearing stock out, so now is your chance if you want to get something from them. And a more expensive brand, but also one of the most iconic, Moiti, sells through Wonderwelt, which brings us into our segment on secondhand shopping, which is my favorite part of being in this style. I just love finding a good deal. I am that person. I will always be that person. So Wonderwelt is not an EGL brand, it is a secondhand sales website. Basically, you can go to their website, look by brand or by category, like if you want Angelic Pretty or Baby the Stars Shine Bright, or maybe you want to look for blouses or dresses, which means most of the time, unless it was a really coveted print or dress or whatever, it's going to be cheaper than if you paid for it new. But not only does Wonderwelt sell used items at an affordable price range, they also sell new items. There is a portion of their website called Wonderwelt Fleur, and it's basically like a storefront for a lot of Japanese brands that don't want to bother making their own websites to sell overseas. Like Moiti is a very good example of this. I can only imagine that Moiti did not want to bother setting up the whole international commerce thing, and so instead they set up a system through Wonderwelt's website so that they can have new items sold for them so that they can make money. Does that make sense? Am I making sense right now? There are some other websites like Wonderwelt, although I think Wonderwelt is probably the most straightforward because their website is very like, you put it in your shopping cart and then you check out and you put your address in. Easy. Not all of the websites are like that. Like Closet Child. Closet Child is a prominent website in the EGL community, and it's a very good platform to buy clothing secondhand. The ordering system is a little bit more convoluted, but like I said, there's always a guide. There's also another website called Tokyo Alice, which is an old secret favorite of mine, and I'm sharing that information with you because I care about y'all. You can also find secondhand EGL clothing from private sellers on websites like Rakuten, Yahoo Auctions, Mercari, Depop, and even eBay. There's also a group on Facebook called Lolita Sales in English, and some people seem to prefer that as their selling platform. I've never used it myself, but people say it works. You know, back in the olden days, like 15 years ago when I was a baby, all the EGL fans would go to EGL comm sales on LiveJournal and sell our clothing like peddlers in a marketplace, organizing 20-person group orders to have someone's grandma from Japan send us clothing from overseas. You know, I'm gonna show you the webpage. I'm gonna show you guys that relic. I hope it's still there. Are people still selling here? The last post was in 2021, March of 2021, and before that it was 2017. I don't think anybody still sells here, but if you are desperate, go for it, babe. God, I miss LiveJournal. There's no algorithm there. Now to tell you guys about the most obvious option I feel like I've kind of been glossing over a little bit, Lace Market. Lace Market is essentially EGL eBay. And like eBay, sometimes you will be scammed, hoodwinked, or otherwise bamboozled. So it's important that you have a PayPal account that you link to your Lace Market account so you can have that buyer protection so you can get a refund if anything goes wrong. It is mostly safe. I've never had trouble myself because I've always bought from sellers that have really good feedback on their profiles, but I have had friends that have had trouble before, so tread carefully. So now that we are beyond the more expensive options, I'm gonna take you into the trenches. Like, do not get me wrong, on a lot of those secondhand websites, you can snag some pretty good deals if you stalk the pages hard enough, but not all of us have that kind of time. So besides finding like your usual good deals on the secondhand websites, we do have other options as well, one of which is the very iconic, much debated Bodyline Tokyo. How do I explain Bodyline? I really don't know where to start. Although I guess I can start by stating the obvious, Bodyline has been described by those of us in the EGL community as like a Walmart for EGL clothing. Not all of it is great. If you can find reviews for certain items, I would recommend doing that. But the dresses I have got from them have been pretty decent for the price. A good note about Bodyline is that all of my shoes that I've bought from them have held up insanely well, even compared to like some brand shoes that I own. And I am not careful with my shoes when I wear them. I am out on the street slapping my feet around like a Clydesdale. So if my shoes don't break after like a year or two, they're good shoes. Bodyline has been hotly debated in the community over the years because of the guy that used to own it. His name was Mr. Yan, and he has become nothing short of a meme in the community. But he also was like kind of creepy. He used to hold these weird contests where he would like try and find like a new model for his brand, but in reality it was just him looking for like a potential future wife, and The girls were always really young and it was kind of weird. He even made like a body pillow of himself one year and a lot of people still own it. I wonder if anyone resells those. I wonder what price they go for. But the good news is that he no longer owns Bodyline. He sold the company. So if you feel comfortable with that, you can buy clothing from there. And for those who have small budgets, it might be one of your few options. And Bodyline really used to be like the only budget brand for EGL fashion, but now beyond Bodyline, we have Taobao. Taobao can only be described as maybe like a Chinese Amazon or eBay. For Taobao, you will have to use a Chinese shopping service if you do not have a Chinese bank account or maybe a relative that lives in China. The service that I used to use was called 42 Agent. I haven't ordered from them in about a year, so I don't know if they're still in business, but there are a lot of really good Taobao shopping services that you can buy from that are reliable. Taobao can be difficult to navigate unless you know Chinese or if you use Google Translate, but you know it's probably going to be really easy for you if you actually know Chinese, so... Also, when you're shopping on Taobao, be sure to look at the reviews and the sizing and the photos that are in the reviews of the items that you want, because sometimes the quality can be like not that great, but I've also gotten some real winners from Taobao as well. So it just kind of depends on the brands you buy from. There are also websites like My Lolita Dress and Devil Inspired that will resell Taobao items with an inflated price. So if you don't want to put up with a shopping service, you could do that as well. I don't know how reliable those websites are because I've never ordered anything from them. And it is cheaper to figure out how to shop on Taobao if you do it yourself, and if I can do it, so can you. I really hope this video was of some help to you guys. I want to be able to bring this style to more people and I want to make it more available for others as well, because the world is a lot more beautiful when we all just kind of wear whatever we want. If you have the time and some kindness in your heart, please hit like and subscribe because I'm still just a small YouTuber and it really helps me out a lot. I'll see you again next week, okay guys? Bye! There is a portion of their website called Wonderwelt Fleur. Wonderwelt Fleur. What is that? Ooh, I'm online shopping when I should not be. Okay, that's really cute. This is just gonna turn into me shopping. Better watch out. My wallet's nearby.